Right, time is now 6:30. We will go ahead and get the select board meeting started per the normal way with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and with that, roll call of board members. Myself, Dave Hemingway, Chair of the Select Board.
Norm D. Blake here. Marlo Herrick. Here.
And that moves
Here.
us on to announcements, which I believe a few different people have announcements to make.
I have an announcement to make. I went to the Committee of Merit 29th Annual Emergency Medical and Fire Services Awards Night. My daughter was there to get something, but then I noticed in the back of the book, it said for the 252 Deer Meadow Road Webster structure fire, our department got some citations, which I thought was nice, so I'd like to read it. Webster Fire Department, it's Chief Emmett Bean, and I'm sorry I don't know if there's something in front of their names, like lieutenant or something, I don't know it, but the other people were Robert Drown, Benjamin Smith, Emery Eaton, Adam Doucette, and Cindel Donahue. And the Webster Police Department was Chief Steve Adams and Phil Mitchell. So I thought that was interesting, since I didn't hear anything about it.
And Chief Kevin Wyman from the Bosquen Police
Oh, yes, he's down, yeah.
was on duty for us at the time.
Pardon?
He was on duty for us at the time.
Oh, he was, okay,
And
I,
responded, and he called his lieutenant over, who came over. The lieutenant
Jason?
was the one that fought with the young lady that started the fire, and Kevin Wyman was the one that called two of the girls out of there.
okay, he was enlisted under the Boston Fire
Right,
Department,
no.
since, I know he lives here, so I'm sorry to, Kevin Wyman too.
So you must have saw the three of us up on the stage.
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
Kevin was the great big
Yeah,
huge
oh,
guy.
yes, I know, he's a big boy. Yes, I did.
Kind of hard to miss.
But it was nice to know, I wish we had known about it, I just happened to be there because my daughter was a firefighter and she got something, so, but it was nice to see, and so I wish we had known it so we could say something, if I had missed it, we could have said something.
Oh, we appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, do we have further announcements?
I have just a small announcement in the fact that we will not be in the office tomorrow. We're closed to the public anyway, but Russ, Wendy, and I are going to go to Manchester and learn about budgets and how to do our jobs.
Oh,
Can you share?
Well, I'm not,
Should I go too?
You
done this
can,
for
it's an
30-something years.
NHMA
I'm
event.
still learning.
Okay, well, it'll be interesting to see what you think is new from what you.
Well, they might have some new
Yeah.
things, and I think that's always good to, it's always
Absolutely.
good. I like chatting with people from other towns and see what they do. That's a
Yes.
lot better idea than what I might have.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So we will not be here tomorrow.
Okay. Don't have too much fun.
I'll try not to.
All right, were there any further announcements?
I just want to make an announcement that our policeman, Phil Mitchell, had lost his son. And so I would like to make a motion that we donate to the Mira Fund, which is for animals from the Black Forest. It's part of what I saw in the paper, and I thought we could donate some money. So I was thinking about $100 in his name. So it's up to everybody else, but I think he's worked here, Phil has worked here for 30 years at least, and I can't even imagine losing your child. I just can't. So,
Oh, at 37 years old.
yeah, 30, oh my God. So that's my suggestion. I hope everybody agrees. So,
Absolutely. I have no problem with that, and
My
Even
question
a
would
little
be,
bit more.
you mentioned the Murrah Fund, what, can you
It's-
say a little bit more about that and
Well,
where that target
it's-
came from?
yeah, it's from the newspaper article about Phil, and young Phil, And they just said there were two, and I forget the other one, but the Mira Fund is Blackwater Vets up in Salisbury are in charge of that, and it helps animals that can't, for medical or for finding homes and stuff. So they've been doing it a long time. So,
And for people that can't afford
yeah, can't afford to have their animals fixed or
the
whatever.
pet care.
So,
Do we have where does that money, where do we grab that money? I guess I would ask you more than.
I think that would be a question for Dana.
And I'm only saying 100 is great. I would like to know if we could do maybe a little bit more, but I don't know how that works.
I usually take it out of executive expenses.
Okay.
I don't know what I have in there, but even if I overdrew executive expenses, we have a sufficient balance and other things that would cover it, so I would find a place for it.
Okay. I mean, 100's great. I mean, one of those situations where wouldn't we like
Oh,
to
I
give
can't even.
everything we have, but unfortunately, these days, $100 hardly buys
What do you
doesn't buy a tank of gas in my car, but anyways, so my own issue, but, I don't know, 250 to 500 is what my mind is more saying, but I'm just throwing that out there, and I don't even know how all this works, and so,
So we have the motion for 100. Do we have a second to keep going with that then?
oh, yes.
Okay. And then are you making a motion to amend her motion?
to make it 200?
Yeah, 250.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So,
Do I say, do I
sure.
second it?
Okay.
That's,
Is there any other discussion on this? All right.
Unless you
In
have
that-
something to say.
In that case, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And not to take
No, no,
the
no.
spot, I just,
Hey,
Are there
That's
any
good.
further announcements?
No.
Okay, that moves us on to appointments, first of which is library trustee. So come on down. Well, normally we would say come on down, but
Here we are.
it's about all of us, so.
Leslie Collins has had to resign because of health reasons. And so we have asked Denise to be the new library trustee, and she has kindly agreed to join us. So we need your blessing from the select board.
so I I'm sorry, my ears are kind of plugged up. What is my friend Denise gonna do?
She's gonna be a trustee.
Okay, that's it, that's,
Sorry.
oh,
No.
Do we have I don't see the paperwork immediately in the
Because I have it in my hand.
Okay, perfect.
wow.
yeah, sure.
And do we need a motion or just to do the signature?
Well, why don't you do a motion, please, and that way we'll have both.
All right.
Okay, I don't see the name there.
I make a motion to accept
Denise.
Denise.
Denise
I
Lawless.
was gonna
There it
say
is.
darn. Denise Wallace as our treasurer of the library, and we thank you.
Trustee.
Trustee.
And I-
Well, I thank you, we thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you.
Volunteering.
No, that's what I'm saying, I mean, it's greatly appreciated.
And I second it, and I've known this lady since I moved to town, so
Oh.
she's a great person, great person.
Would you like to say anything?
No, I'm just delighted. It's something I had hoped to do, so I'm sorry Leslie's health precipitated this, but I'm delighted to do it. And the way I understand it, I'll just fill in till election and then
Oh, then you'll be on the ballot,
that
yeah.
I'll be, yeah.
I believe that's the way this particular one is set up.
Yeah, it does go to the next election.
All right, so we had a first and a second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And there we go.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, no,
Um,
seriously.
In order
Oh,
to
come on.
allow you to
I'm gonna borrow your pen.
get out
Yeah.
fairly quickly, our old business starts with
Slowly.
budget presentations. But before we go there, based on the technology that is in front of us right now, I don't know if you are prepared to speak about the, oh, wait, I'm sorry. I don't know if you're prepared to speak about, I just heard that the library was interested in altering and mounting up a projector.
Yes.
And I didn't know if you wanted to speak to that and, or where in the process you are, so we may be able to consider helping or making everything fit together with what we'd like for here as well.
I think that's a Marty issue.
Okay.
He's the techie.
Sounds good.
I'm the Luddite.
Well, next time Marty's here, we'll have to discuss that with
Okay,
him.
he was planning on being here tonight, but who knows?
Well, if he shows up a little bit later, we'll ask him then.
Okay.
So thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
And Michelle should be able to take care of the rest of that
All right,
process.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right, that brings us into the budget presentation. And is the chief first on that?
Yes.
All right.
We have this, it's good.
Why don't,
Tell me what
The microphone.
yeah, we might as well have you go up
I
there.
can, yeah.
Because we can see you fine, and I know our immense audience can see you fine, but anyone watching should see a little more than the back of your hat.
Yeah, that's not good. Good. So, let's turn that on so we can hear. How's that? Is that better?
That works. We haven't been using ours, we should.
Is it, are they turned on? Yeah.
It is in the back. These aren't.
The
The
red.
only increase that I have, other than wages, are, the dispatch fees went up. Now, they told us the dispatch fee should go up around 5%, and that goes according to our call volume. And they haven't come up with all those numbers, they probably won't have those numbers till the middle of October. But he figured somewhere around 5%. Most of the other towns that are busier than us are going up 15 to 20%, which is a huge increase. And that's to cover wages, basically, for them. So if ours goes up, it's gonna increase by $766 for that section. It'll be a 4% increase on that, even though it's a 5%. 4% on that line, but 5% on that
Portion.
one bill. Other than that, the only wages that I have, the only increase I have is for wages. And basically, that's because the cost of inflation, according to all the stats I had, and I went right to Social Security for the stats. They said January of '22 it was 5.9%, and right now it's 8.9%. And they said that Social Security COLA for 2023 could reach as high as 8.9%. That'd be the largest increase ever in Social Security if they do. But I'd be surprised to see them jump it that much. That'd be almost impossible for them. So at the rate that I have now, that would bring my budget up by 4%.
So my question would be, we've had a slight issue with it back and forth a couple times in the past, with the wages portion.
Yep.
Is this covering both the expected merit increases as well as the COLA increase for the wages?
Yes. This'll be it.
How about when we finally come up with the policy and all the benefit part of it? Will that increase this at all? Is that a good question? Is that
It's a good question, but the, all of the insurances and benefits and stuff
Yeah.
are in other line items for general budget.
Oh, okay, so it's not in here.
I
Yeah,
don't
the-
Oh.
think that shouldn't affect any of this, I
Yeah.
don't believe.
Okay,
This is
The-
only wages.
okay,
The-
okay.
The only thing that might slightly, like as we're adjusting, or if we adjust things like paid time off,
Yeah, right,
holidays,
yeah.
vacations, there may be a couple extra days of, for example, with vacation, where there would be a time and a half or something of that nature for,
Which
say,
could-
part-time.
Right,
So it may affect it slightly, but not
But it-
much.
I can absorb that in my overtime budget
Mhm.
or my part-time wages, so that, I can do that without changing any of that.
Yeah. So there may be a slight change, so it's a good question, but most of that should be reflected in other things, such as the additional insurances now. We have dental, though we did last year as well. And things such as, depending on how it's done, what we are putting into the compensated absences fund and how large that probably needs to sustain itself at.
Okay,
But that should not affect this set of numbers.
okay, yeah, but I think off time and vacation, I think wages, so that's why okay.
Do we ever give, our policemen, do they ever go and work for another, like when they're doing roads and stuff, and
Oh, yeah.
did they do that now? Do we have enough people to do that?
What's it called? What's it called?
It's a special detail.
Detailed, thank you.
Yeah, well,
And-
I was,
I believe, I don't have the numbers, but you might have the numbers, what's in our detail fund that we've raised?
I don't have an exact number.
Michelle would have it, I don't have it
I
on
mean,
me, and
I could find
but
out, but
Rich Arell's been working 2 and 3 details a week, which goes right into that cruiser fund.
Yeah,
That'll
oh, yeah, I
fund
know.
all the equipment and fund everything, so we're not gonna need a car for 2 years, we're gonna skip buying one the next time.
it works by, they charge contractors or whoever they're working for a certain rate. Out of that rate, the town gets reimbursed what they've paid for wages and taxes.
Yep, wages, taxes, and in Phil's case, retirement.
And retirement. And
Oh,
then the
great.
remainder
Oh, yeah.
goes into a revolving fund, which the town established. And that's the account that Steve is referring to as the money.
Which it goes for any equipment for a cruiser or towards a new cruiser. So we made enough money last year that I took money out of that to pay for all the equipment in the car, which was almost $8,000.
Wow.
And I think by the time, the end of this year, I'll bet we'll have close to almost $10,000 in there. I'm hoping.
Are they doing some of the work where they're building that Market Basket and all that craziness?
They didn't have anybody, they did their own people there.
Really?
We've been working over on Route 103 in Warner.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're cutting all the new power lines.
Oh, wow.
So we've been over there 2-3 days a week.
Wow.
which
That's
is
good.
Kicking money
Good
right
for
to
the
that
town.
fund.
It's very good for the town.
And good for those guys making extra money too, I guess. Okay.
All right. Any other questions for the chief? So, in the past, we've had concerns, questions, needs for increase in both ammunition, which I know you had been doing well on because you kind of had the stockpile going. How is that handled at this point?
So, I still have $700 in my budget right now, because I'm waiting for them to get ammo in before I purchase it. I don't wanna prepay it, because unless it comes to the end of the year. But we just got delivered 1,000 rounds of rifle ammo that we had ordered in October of last year. We just got it a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, my God.
And we paid for it out of last year's budget, which was nice. So, I'm hoping that it comes up better. I know the cost has gone down a little bit, which has helped
okay.
us. Probably about $35 a case, which is, a couple of cases makes a big difference.
Yes.
And of course, the other one, which had an increase thanks to our residents, was the gasoline line.
Yeah.
How has that been holding up, and what are you expecting?
Actually, gasoline line's been pretty good. I can tell you what I have in here. So,
Because it was as bad as
so
everybody.
gasoline, we had $9,000 in there for gasoline. We've spent, as of, well, 9/6, $5,087.01. So we still got 43% left. So we'll be
Okay.
good for this year.
Very good.
And thank God the state prices, it's odd because state prices vary from tank to tank. So we get billed according to what they drop. So if we get gas in Franklin or gas in Warner, because it's the closest pumps, one may be cheaper than the other.
No.
It depends on what they buy the gas for at the time is what they charge
In a
us.
day.
Oh, my God.
Um, So.
That's how diesel works, same idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
But for a while there, we were paying like $2.20 a gallon, and now it's gone up to just over 3, or just about
Nice.
3. But it's still substantial.
That's not
Cheaper than the
Yeah.
pump.
Very good. All right. I know that there are now funds available from the state towards things like the vehicle cameras, et cetera, that have been discussed as being interesting to yourself and several of the staff there. I am unfamiliar with exactly how those work and if the grants come direct or if they need to filter through our budget.
So
Have
it's
you
a
looked into that?
It's a 50/50 grant. I've purchased them before through this. It's a 50/50 grant. Highway safety grant pays for it. So we purchase them and they reimburse us 50% of whatever the cost is. And I'm a huge proponent that we get cruiser cameras. It can save the town a ton of money in lawsuits should something happen. The last town I had 3 lawsuits for deaths we saved because we had the cameras that proved that we were right and they were wrong. Just that in itself to pay for the cameras was good. And the cameras are $5,000 a piece. But the cameras that I purchased in 2013 are still in use over there and they're still using them today. So you get longevity is really good on them.
Where would that be in here and or does it need to be accounted for in this?
I haven't put that into here. That's what we're gonna have to find out. We do have a highway safety grant that they just awarded us last week. Doesn't start till October 1st. That's a speed grant for out here on the roads. It wasn't a lot of money, but it's $3,400 that goes towards extra patrol for speed or any motor vehicle violation. So we'll have them out there taking care of that. That'll put some man hours out on the road, extra man hours.
So when do you think that we might hear back about the cameras and how much you think will actually go through where? Because one of the bills was basically sponsoring it a lot further than previous.
It's
went
sponsored
through.
until the end of next year.
Okay.
And I'm kinda hoping that the state kicks in more money, because the feds are still coming up with extra money for all kinds of things. Training, everything. So I'm hoping they'll come up with more money for cameras. And if it's an unfunded mandate, I would like to see them pay for the whole thing, and that's what they're pushing for, because they're pushing that they want it mandatory that all cars have them, or they wear body cameras, one of the two, which would be an unfunded mandate for us. Wow, I mean, if they're gonna mandate it, why should we have to pay for it? They should have to supply it.
Good thinking, sir.
So,
It was,
let's get them to pay for it.
It was,
I hope.
I don't think I've still got it in front of me, but it was one of the bills that we were accepting the funds for at our public hearing up at the old meeting house. One of those had in it that the state was providing funding for the cameras, so.
But we haven't got an amount on what they'll fund. I got
Gotcha.
Three,
Okay.
and that's another thing that I'm waiting for is the final numbers on, I got one camera company that's already given me the final numbers and I'm waiting for 2 others. So hopefully we'll have them within the next couple of weeks.
And what do? We buy it from them, they install it, and do they also?
We purchase it, and the last ones we had, Osby Mountain Electronics install it. That's the same people that install everything else in our car. They install them, all different brands. They installed the ones in my last cars, so they've had good luck with them. And, it's an unbelievable tool. Once you see how it works,
Listen, if you can get something recorded, I mean, at the end of the
Absolutely.
day, I mean, what do we tell all our children? Don't take pictures. Don't record, right?
well, it's nice
Because
because
it's all done, it's there, it's,
That's right.
and
you
that's
can't
that's
deny it
awesome.
when it's on camera.
That's right,
Um,
that's right.
And the officer wears a mic on him at all times, so
Mm-hmm.
the voice is recorded, and usually the camera is so clear that it picks up everything.
Well, and hopefully it also, I'm gonna say it, in this day and age, I feel like, law enforcement is totally always under the gun, and they're trying to protect themselves and our society, and yeah, I haven't been happy with some
Nope.
ways that these people go. And, so, yes, I mean liability, I mean, so if you're talking $15,000, it could, 3 cars, right?
Yep,
To me,
That's nothing
that could save you,
compared, right.
that could save you a lot of money quickly.
Yeah.
It's,
especially, how much is a lawsuit?
Especially if insurance
Help with
factors
it.
it in for liability.
Well, that's right,
insurance
that's right,
costs.
maybe your liability rates would be lower and,
And
yeah.
it keeps everybody honest, us as well as the.
That's
public.
right, I mean, there's always 2 sides to every story, then there's the truth,
Absolutely.
so.
And then there's the recording.
Right. And then everybody it is what it is.
That's
Cause you
exactly,
can't take it back then.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that's why you're asking all these questions, cause, yeah, it's.
Because I know that almost everybody on every side of every issue supports recorded,
Yeah, yeah,
so.
yeah.
It's a good thing.
So you'll know more, you're hoping, after October.
I should have
Okay.
all my final numbers in sometime in October.
Yeah, perfect.
All right.
Otherwise, I mean, I don't think we have a lot to complain about.
And that may help, because I may, depending on what I have in my fund, on how many details we do, that could kick in a huge chunk of it.
That would be awesome.
well, I think you're doing a great job, the police are doing a good job, so
Well,
that's.
we appreciate it, we really do.
Oh, and thank you very much, and thank you for keeping our budgets in mind as you do it.
Well, exactly.
We've got amazing coverage for the amount that we spend,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
a lot of that has you to thank.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And we don't want you to retire ever, so just,
You gotta talk to my wife.
What's your number?
Not now, it's being recorded.
Right.
You won't wanna hear what she says at the other end.
All right, well, thank you very much.
And I think he's gonna present a public safety budget, that should be 0 increase, I think we should do okay.
Do you want to do it while you're here?
They can if they want. It should be a 0% increase. Emmett and I sat down, and went over it with Phil, and, we can't see where, we can't squeak by with what we have.
I wonder how many other towns can say that.
If
Do you want me to pass this down?
you would, please.
I sure would.
Thank you.
And special orders do upset
We
me.
can share. Save on the paper.
I have another one coming up sometime.
That's all right.
mine
I didn't-
is 7.65%.
There's that one.
Oh, well, thank you.
So as you see, nothing changed on that.
No.
I've lost mine, but that's all right.
Look here, we're looking together anyways. And there's not a whole lot of lines.
Yeah,
Right, we can.
No,
the only thing that,
We'll
you know,
find, promise.
we wondered at was the propane. However, you're in good shape with what you've spent this year.
We're in good shape right now, we got
So.
65% left.
Yeah.
Everything's been kept right down,
And the propane's $1.97 this year,
which is
so.
great.
Oh my God, it locked in? Are you locked in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
we got nothing to complain about.
Yeah,
No, that's why, that was a huge help.
Yeah.
yeah.
Who'd you do that through? Who do we do that through?
Huckleberry.
Huckleberry, great.
Yeah. We go on with the school, and because of volume,
Yeah.
we were able to do the propane. The fuel oil, I had to do differently, but propane's good.
And did you get a number locked in for the fuel oil?
Yes, we don't have fuel
Okay.
oil here. We only have fuel oil in this part of this building,
Okay.
and it was $3.82, I think, for fuel oil.
Okay.
Which was better when I first called, it was $4.09.
I just did some of the same
And
thing.
Tracy told me, don't do it yet.
Yeah. No, I think this winter, you're gonna see, you'll be very happy you did that.
Oh, yeah.
I hope I am too.
So now this, just for the, and I never knew this part of the building is oil and the offices are propane?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go figure, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
really, and
I was here 1.5 years before I realized that, you know?
that's, well, I've been here all my, 50 years and I didn't realize,
Yeah.
when we built this, but that's kinda weird. But, Maybe we wanted to make the oil company and the propane company,
We
no.
can, well, we buy from the
Buy
same
from
people,
both from
so.
Huckleberry, yeah.
Well, it's more that, as pieces of equipment get put in, and one piece of equipment was better at one time, and then when they added new stuff, that went to a different set, and then when they replaced it, they apparently had a large deal with trying to replace it with other types of energy, and then ended up going back to gas and propane, so.
Okay, thank you.
Propane's pretty popular now.
It is.
At 197, it probably should
So-
be.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I like that it doesn't need to change.
Yeah.
That helps our budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Very nice. Look, we got 2 done now, right?
Yeah,
All right.
well, almost.
Oh,
We
okay.
got his further refinements later
Yeah.
with
Okay.
exact numbers, but.
Okay.
I think the only thing that'll change, I think I'm pretty good, if anything, that could go down when I get his final numbers, so I'm hoping it goes down a little, but we'll see.
Perfect. All right. What's our next section?
The financial administration would be next. And I'll just make, there is the, financial coordinator salary in there. I have not done anything with salaries yet. I've got to meet with, do reviews and go forth with that before I recommend that, but that's,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a short evening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I see that the deputy tax collector salary is up. Do we even have one at this point?
no, and Karen asked to increase that, in the hopes that it might be attractive to find somebody. Fortunately, Karen King has decided that she will run again.
Good, what did you twist her arm or what?
Well, I mean, it worked out, and
Oh,
I'm
that's
glad, I'm
good.
glad it did, because she's
Oh,
very
well.
experienced.
Yeah, she's good.
And she has a few people in mind, and I'm encouraging her to, she needs to have somebody. And so she asked if we could increase that,
Which is not a ton of money.
you know,
No.
which is up $240. And she
Right.
kinda made up for it in her workshops and mileage by going down 300, so.
Though I would suggest that any deputy tax collector would then be more likely to need more training and workshops, so that would seem a little odd. But they also have someone with a lot of experience to help
Well,
train them.
that's what I was just thinking, Dave, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can go to these classes all you want.
Learn nothing,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
So, you know, it's not like it's Karen's first day.
No, no.
Second, third.
Okay, then the next is the reval and assessing.
So we expect nothing other than the financial administrator pay to change in that, correct?
That's what I expect will
That's
change,
right.
yes.
That's it. Oh, we make good,
That's right.
good partners.
Yes.
Oh,
There you go. So, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the, this budget. $5,000 is for, the general assessing, which is the pickups and the splits and the subdivisions every year that need to be done. The reval of property is the contract that we have, for the whole town to be updated. And that will happen in 2023, next year. It's our last year of the contract with this particular assessing firm. The amount we're gonna need next year is $32,000. I have put in 12 in there because there's 22 in the trust fund, for that purpose. And rather than put the whole thing in the budget, I am suggesting maybe we take 20,000 out of the trust fund.
So the general the general assessing one was overspent this year. I know
Yes.
there were some specific cases that caused that, I think around the campground.
Yes.
Is that something that,
don't
obviously with the
expect that.
campground, we don't expect?
We
but
don't
other
expect
things?
it next year. The campground had a lot of the information was not correct. And so they went and they did the campground. Unfortunately, we will never get this money back because the taxes we get from the campground are, you know, just not really worth talking about. But, it's good to be right, and that was why that was so much this year.
Okay.
And I would have liked to have a little more input with that than to have them have it done and suddenly here we are. But we have addressed that, I hope.
So my suggestion, so that it doesn't become a giant budget sticker shock in the future, is that since this has been our yearly rate through the contract, that we keep the same 16,000 in the revaluation line for the contract, and that the extra expected the 16,000 would come out of the revaluation fund, and that we would expect to need to get up to our 32,000 for the year. And then, once that's done, we're gonna be looking at contracts or new agreements to do this for the next 5 years. And so then that fund could either be slowly increased through the years to go back up if a similar sort of contract is done, or could be more quickly put up if we ended up with a once in 5 year payment, as had been previously done, though I don't expect we would go back to that. Or we could simply have a warrant article to return all of the funds from that back to the general / unassigned fund once we have the new contract and an even split per year put into the upcoming budgets after that. But that would be a more apples to apples comparison in the next budget year after this, instead of, well, we've got to increase it again because of kind of a mixed change. What does the board think? Either way, we get our money back, but
Yeah.
it's how is it going to present to people and look and make it more straightforward to people? Like, why do we suddenly pay less when they're doing more? And so I think just keeping it even makes sense to me, but.
Well, yeah, that's how you usually wanna keep a budget kind of on the straight, even, that's what I would say.
Sounds fine to me.
Okay. So, Dana,
Yes.
I think that's the direction we want to try to go with this at this point.
Okay, change it to 16?
Yep.
Okay,
I was gonna say, did you get all that?
I did. I know it looked like I wasn't paying attention, but I was, I really was. The next budget is legal expense.
Oh, God. How do you budget for that?
Yeah, right, that's.
Well, you
Lots
never,
of guessing.
It is!
you never know.
Oh, sorry,
Um,
I was keeping all of them.
So,
It's like that
I
legal
got
expense.
overly, oh God, legal expense.
as you notice that our budget was $10,000 this year and we've spent 19, and that is because of the sales of houses and all the legal things that we have had to do in there.
But we get the money back.
It includes the 7,500.
Yeah.
We do get the money, but of course it has to show in the going out of the budget. The actual legal expenses for the town this year is in the vicinity of 3,500 so far. So I think the 10,000 is a good figure, and hopefully we won't have this additional expense, even though it will offset in the sale of town property.
That makes sense. And we had, the only reason it was actually this high was we were expecting to add or the same with the 12,000 before it, is we were expecting to have some high bills because of the solar farm and dealing with legal for that, which was going to be reimbursed, but we wanted to have it showing up in the budget line item to not be complete shock if we went over it. And so that would again be a same as revenue as is incoming, but that's one of the reasons why it was shown this high. So, which is good apparently, because we used a lot of it, and it's just coming back again. So just like with that, it may show as overdrawn next year if we are able to move forward with that project, which it sounds like we're going to be able to.
Have
But,
they had any other meetings? Have you gone to any meetings?
We don't have further solar subcommittee meetings, because we haven't gotten further information to
Oh,
work on
okay, so we're
yet.
still just kind
Um,
of sitting along.
Last I heard, they had started to get information back from the third parties that they were waiting on in the infrastructure of things, so that they could start to finalize their plans to then
Oh,
provide
good.
to us
Oh, okay.
for comment and to work on. So
Okay.
I'm hopeful that soon we will have something, but nothing definite as of yet.
Okay, thanks.
So the next one's town
Yeah.
hall. Again, that has custodian wages in it, I have not done anything with that one. And actually, a few of them are down. The propane, because I know what it's gonna cost, and the oil, same difference. I think the electricity and some of these were inflated last year after the town meeting when we added money to different
Right.
budgets, so,
Well, you're looking pretty good.
it really looks like I'm really bringing it down, but not so much.
Well, I like to see the green.
Oh, wait, that was the wrong one.
Means go.
Yeah, I got some red coming up.
Oh, okay, well, you keep that.
Yeah, we don't wanna see those.
So it's those two. Done. That was the same postage. So we're just not sending out as much postage?
No. Even though postage has gone up, but, the tax collector has a postage line, and so a lot of hers is not in that line.
Oh, yeah, she does most of it,
Yeah.
probably.
But it's a lot of it's in.
So
Yeah.
what I will say is that I'm gonna put this in here for the electricity for the time being. However, the current, obviously, we just went up for Eversource, which we're not on with the town, to 22 cents. The expectation is that over the winter, both Unitil and Eversource will be approaching 44 to 50 cents.
Oh, jeez.
So we may we should probably revisit this come the end of December or January when those changes
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's not as bad as projected, but,
What do you think the odds of that then?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I
Hey,
watched.
Watch
you
the
know,
news.
I,
They're smiling.
I can be hopeful even if I don't expect it. But for now, we'll put that in because based on what we have used and so on, it makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. This is the welfare budget?
Just quickly, while we're talking about electricity, I will make the short version that the revenue that comes from the solar is currently looking a little bit weird because of the way that Unitil has reacted with billing. That should get sorted out soon, we hope, based on additional documents that have been getting filed to Unitil and others. And then we'll work out what the best way for us as the town to handle that are. To briefly explain, they have, rather than offsetting our electricity bills, they've always cut us a check for it, and they stopped sending checks. But when they stopped sending checks, we started banking the kilowatt hours, so even though we don't have the money, we haven't lost the money, it's still sitting there for us to collect. So that is being worked on by our illustrious employees and others to try and make sure that it will make sense and be the most benefit to the town that it can.
Good.
But it's always something when dealing with utilities, so
Yeah, right.
let's see, welfare.
So obviously, the big problem in here is the vendor payments for the assistants. I've had actually 3 rather stiff cases this year. And I think I am finally gotten 2 of them off to cap, which is nice. And I don't feel bad that, I mean, we had to, I think for us to be successful in passing it on, we have to start off and cooperate and show that we're really working with people and trying to do what is right. And it was very, very frustrating. One case I was able to get done because they did not tell me the truth, and that's one of my, I'm done when that happens. Not that I'm used to it,
Right.
but so I'd like to go up on welfare to 5,000. I'm really hoping next year will be a better year. There is one case I know of that I hope doesn't come to fruition. And again, it's something you just never know,
Yeah, right.
you know?
Exactly. How many cases do we have? You
This
know?
year I've had 6.
6.
And 2 of the 6 really just, they want to come in and talk to me about budgeting and.
Oh, learning
and-
how to budget and
and-
everything?
And, yeah, so I
Oh,
mean.
that's nice.
You know, it's,
That's
so
awesome.
they're really, I'm happy to do that.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, that's
because they're
terrific.
really trying and to come up with ways that, you know, they can be successful.
Well, that's nice. Thanks for doing that.
You
That's,
know.
so some people never learn, you know, they don't teach that in school. Well, they might now, but they never did. That stuff they should have been teaching.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Sort
Well,
of,
yeah, I
but
mean,
it
it's
needs to be
really,
more.
It
is sad.
When I was young, you know, I never had problems with my budget because I didn't have one, I couldn't afford it.
Yeah,
But-
right, yeah. Me
But
too.
anyway, so those are the nice stories, you know?
yeah.
And a few people have been able to help that all they needed was just a little push on the
Jumpstart.
track and off
But
they
that's
go.
good, but if they've never been raised like that, it's tough.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that you got, I mean, I don't think a lot of people knew you offered something where they come in and talk to you for,
Well, I mean, you know, I'm a talker
Yeah.
and they've been very open to it. They didn't really, it wasn't that they needed real help, they needed arranging how they were going to do their budget.
That's good, look, thanks.
okay.
So the 2 of my favorite ones are coming up, and that is, the first one would be the long-term debt, and I'm glad I made these because this is very intricate. We fortunately paid our long-term debt off this year, which was the public safety building. So we went from asking for, last year, I think it was what, 42,000?
Yeah, total of
42,000. And this year I'm asking for $2.
Nope. Shoot that down. That's awesome.
And that's only to keep the, you know.
Yeah, the
open.
line open.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a placeholder line
yeah.
item.
Right.
And then I've got the short-term debt. I shouldn't bother even with that, but since I printed it, there you go.
Right, we like our trees, thank you.
Last year, we had $1 in there, and I'm proposing the same.
Okay,
Well, that's okay.
Maybe the same dollar.
why not?
Okay.
No
Can
time
we
to change
encumber
her,
that?
you know? I was gonna say no time to change underwear, but
That's right.
sounded a little weird.
So those are the ones that I'm presenting tonight. A few others that I've got to do as the executive, and I wanted to wait till we did salaries on that one. Next time, Russ will be here to present code enforcement. Rob Walensky hopefully will be here to present emergency management. And then public safety and highways, will be the meeting after that. I'm sorry, I'm a little off here. Health, Roy is coming in the 3rd of October. And parks. So, we're looking like, you know, we're getting the first ones out of the way.
Mhm. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
All right. Any other questions, comments, et cetera, for the budget?
Not yet. Looks good.
Oh, yeah.
All
You're
right.
making our job fairly easy.
Then I will
Nice
make
to have professional.
this go away. And that brings us to the personnel policy update.
Yes, and you had asked me at our meeting last week, I guess I'm just using, I'm doing this.
Since I don't have anything to display, I will be a good steward of our electricity. Till that.
Dave, how much does that use? Don't come to my house. Get out to my kids, my husband. Turn stuff off.
Really, you have those problems too?
Okay.
I'll tell you, I never thought anything of it until you have to pay for it. So I remember as a kid, my father would go around yelling at you.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
Shut the lights off.
Shut the lights off,
And then
yep.
then you find yourself doing it in your own home and you're going around and shutting, I'm like, oh, this is what it's like.
That's right.
My father saved every bill he ever got. When he died, I was looking through them, and he'd have light bills. I remember him yelling at us as kids, and
Yeah.
his bill would be like $8.20.
Oh, that's a lot, that's a lot.
Well, but you know, if you adjust that for inflation, you gotta consider that, you know, like, my parents, when they bought their first new car, it was like $4,000
That's
for
right,
the car.
yeah,
So-
right.
Right.
I grew up in a big old colonial house,
Mhm.
and I can remember, I just have this in my mind, my father having a fit, because we got oil one time, and it was like almost $20.
Yeah.
And this,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
had no insulation at all when the breeze
Yeah, oh,
went, you
yeah,
could see
right.
the curtain.
But I bet you're less sick.
I guess so.
No, I'm telling you right now, sometimes you
Yeah.
get in an old home where
The
they get a little
ventilation
draft.
is good.
Yeah.
Our bedrooms were like as cold as it was outside, so we didn't linger.
Ask my kids, we
Well,
don't
that's
turn the
good for
heat
you,
on
too.
upstairs. We don't.
So what I'm trying to show you here, and I'm sorry, I've tried to think of how I could do it, but you had asked me to do
yeah,
a few
okay.
towns. And of course, not every town does it quite the same. But the first column is what the Personnel Committee proposed for Webster. The second column is Boscawen. There are two columns for Boscawen because their department heads and their employees have slightly different schedules. Then we've got Henniker, Hopkinton, Salisbury, and Warner. Now, I mean, as you can see, Boscawen, you go and you have 4 weeks vacation out of the gate, which I think is really a nice thing if you were going that way.
But Salisbury and Warner.
Well, so that's for the, that's only for department heads though.
Holy
There's one
cow.
for employees though, too.
Yeah.
1 year of service, they have 4 weeks of vacation?
Yeah.
If they're a department head.
If they're department head,
If not, it's
they're-
three.
It's three.
Yeah, come on. 1 year? Did you have that when you worked your jobs, first job?
First jobs, no. Anything in tech, you're shocked if you don't have 3 weeks.
Oh, oh, well, tech is a
Yeah.
whole different
Right.
thing. Out of my,
Yeah. This makes.
Well, I'll simply state that the trend in tech right now is to unlimited vacation time.
well, my God,
The
man.
majority of them now are unlimited vacation as long as the work is getting done.
Really? Wow.
Well, kids, pay attention.
Yeah,
Don't be a
really.
blue collar worker. No.
Well, it doesn't pay any better, and you're still working all the time, because you have to get it done.
Right, cause if you don't get your
It's the
vacation.
whole, you can take vacation, make sure it's done at the end of your vacation.
Yeah. So I suppose that is an interesting,
Well, that's the big thing with vacation, because, you know, we really couldn't be gone for any more than 2 weeks at a time.
Right, exactly, yeah, right,
Just,
because you're necessary.
You know,
but it is different than from a production world
Right.
than to a,
yes, yeah.
yeah, cause I sit here and think about what you're
Yeah, I know
saying
what
and it
I-
cringes me. But I get it, it's different, it's different.
Yeah,
But, I
it's
mean-
definitely very different.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so,
I do have kind of a funny story, because I said, boy, the Salisbury, you know, looks very much like ours, really? And April says to me, well, that's because we copied yours. I said, oh, okay.
but Warner's not as crazy as I would've
Warner
thought it
is
would've been.
very conservative.
Yeah.
But I think, someone told me that their pay scale is higher. Now, I don't know that for sure, someone just told
Gotcha.
me.
Oh, that's a great talking to.
Yeah, right. yeah. I mean, I think Henniker's is somewhat reasonable.
Lucky me, I pay taxes on both
I
sides.
find it a little bit interesting that Salisbury, who copied ours, has 2 more holidays than we had, because we were proposing, or I should say, what was proposed to us was an increase of 1.
Right.
Which would have brought it to 12, and they have 13. Hopkinton has the 11, which I'm gonna guess we match for holidays.
Salisbury has Juneteenth, if you can believe it.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
And that, I guess that just, they just got that.
Mhm.
That's the
But
only one?
that means they would have already had 1 additional, maybe it was the one that we were considering, or
They,
was
yes,
proposed to us.
they have Washington's birthday.
Okay.
So are we doing anything with this, or do we get to kinda
I think we should
absorb this
absorb it.
and then have another, then we'll go back in
I-
and meet
yeah.
and just decide,
Should I
right?
set up another work session? Would that work, or do you wanna do it at the next meeting?
I guess my question before we decide on that would be, do we wanna look at this and then make some sort of proposal and then send it back to the committee? Or do we want to, just send this to the committee and say, you know, look at this in addition? Cause you're saying that we need to be competitive, and this, in some cases, looks like it is, in some cases, looks like it's not, and.
So they've never seen
Like-
this?
I think they have.
They never saw, the committee hasn't seen it?
They haven't seen this,
They
no.
haven't seen,
They
I
well,
think they may have seen the information.
I guess my only thought on that, I mean, I think the committee was formed, they got together, they gave you a recommendation. And they knew that you may not accept all their recommendations. So I'm just trying to, in the interest of time, save a step by going back and, you know, forth. And then if they disagreed with you, then we'd have to work that out. And I think that the ball is in the select board's.
Well, that was more of a question towards the select board of, you know, do we wanna try to give a recommendation back and ask them? Do we wanna try to come up with other options based on this and so on and so forth? Or do we
I would
wanna
just
just
like
absorb
it-
it and then,
What they're proposing and what these are doing.
And
No
ba-
disrespect to Bosquen, but I'm just gonna take
that's a
them out.
lot.
I think if you just, if you remove the first Boscoon one, because for the most part, it's gonna be the second column that matters. And they get more to start with,
that's right.
they get less in the 5 to 10 year and the 10 plus. They don't jump up until 20 plus. which we don't have as a category. So to start with, it's better there, but only for your first few years of service, and then it's actually better here than in Boscawen.
I find Warner very interesting.
Yeah. I'm curious if they're in the process of looking at changing that, or if they're just, hey, we'll pay more is enough. Because if you remember, the chief told us about when he was looking for officers, that Warner was offering the like gigantic signing bonuses and stuff.
Again, like I said, that's kind of what's happening now. Well, hey, maybe it'll last forever, but I doubt it.
I don't think so.
I think
So-
it was Henniker that gets longevity bonuses, which I didn't note in there, but.
I could ask. Should I pay for that too?
Yes, you do. And they appreciate it, Marla.
Well, and looking at, for example, Hopkinton, like, we're not that far off from what they were doing, though ours is more generous earlier. Even, well, theirs is more generous than our current one for the first year, but after that, we're more generous already. But, for example, they don't have any kind of separating payout, which neither does Boscawen nor Salisbury. So it's really only Henniker and proposed for us, and a partial for Warner that do that.
When we talk about the policy and we talk about changing it, is that gonna grandfather the people that are there now? Like, well,
There-
you know the one I'm talking
Yeah,
in
so there's a
particular.
couple different ways that you can look at policies like this, and this would be going to legal as far as exactly what really we can do and can't do. But usually, there's a clause somewhere in the policy, which I don't think is in ours, that says subject to change. And that runs into issues with people that have been employed for a long time, because they may have signed on under a different policy.
Well, that's what would
Now,
make me a little
the,
crazy. You come to a job and you think this is what you're getting, and like we talk about the banking of time.
so,
If
yes,
moving forward, I was thinking this the other day, if moving forward, we said, here's the rule, but you grandfather the person's or people's.
so there have been some, like, accepting people that were hired before a certain date and things of that nature in the policy previously. Generally, at least in tech industries, it's either they can change it, but there's a process and hearings and unions and stuff involved, which we don't have. Or the way it's often done is when you sign up and you sign your contract, this is the policy that you need to withhold and stand by for everything. And if there is a policy change, for example, in, I don't know, how you need to treat people or something of that nature, that's not your personnel and benefits
That's
policy.
right, yeah, no, of course it's not.
Which ours kind of encompasses a lot more, so it's a little bit weird. But when, for example, we added dental, if you, because that's not in the policy, okay, great, we decided to do it, but in most cases, that would be added into a policy, changed, and then implemented and added, and only the people that signed on to accepting the entire new policy in its entirety would get the new benefit.
So more or less, that guy that we call grandfather might not.
Correct. So he could decide to stay with what he's got instead of getting the new stuff. He could decide
He-
to
he
stay
could make
with what
a-
he's
he
got
could make a
instead
choice.
of getting additional holidays and time off.
Oh, boy.
So those are the kinds of things. Or you can also typically write it that this will supersede all previous policies,
Mm-hmm.
and there can be legal entertainment with that. And I'll just leave it at that and suggest that a lawyer be contacted if we tried to go that route. So, but generally, it's, the easiest way that I have seen is, if you want the new stuff in the new policy, you agree to the entirety of the new policy. You still carry all of your stuff, but the policy is going to apply now.
That's not really what I want to hear.
So it can be
I guess
interesting.
I could see like, okay, I mean, I get what you're saying. Okay, you want this, good.
Right now,
And you don't
there's-
wanna change it
yeah.
for the new policy, but now we have this, so you need to choose between the two in a sense.
But right now, we have an interesting mix, from my understanding, where there's kind of a picking and choosing and using 2 or 3 different policies based on the time periods of which they were approved. And so that's the kind of thing that we want to avoid and to get
Yeah.
away from by having, this is the policy, here's how you get all of this stuff, like nicer time off, more holidays, dental coverage, et cetera.
Yeah, you
It's the make it advantageous enough that they want it.
Okay.
So,
I'm not sure where to go from here.
that would absolutely, what, your question is entirely one that needs to be talked about, but would, I think, need to be talked about with the town's legal counsel instead of just us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now what?
Well, that's the question. Do we want to set up a workshop for us to look at these and come up with actual figures and say this is what we're suggesting and
Kinda
what we
like-
could go with?
Kinda like get it done,
And then,
right?
do we wanna do, you know, cause then at that point, we can either have agreed on something and
Right.
do it,
I know.
or we can send it back and get committee feedback, or ask questions, or send questions to the committee, et cetera.
Can I ask a stupid question? What do we do now? This is proposed.
Mhm.
What's Webster do now?
If you look at Salisbury's line, since they copied us, it's basically that.
Oh, okay.
And that's what we were kinda going over the
Oh,
other day in our meeting.
Yeah.
And I think what we
I'm
just need.
sorry, I missed that,
What?
the meeting.
No, you were there.
Oh, I was?
Yeah, no, it was the one downstairs.
Oh,
And
oh.
it's confusing, I didn't even mean it like that,
So-
I get where you're coming. I think what we need to do is, we gotta just, I think we kinda gotta
Like the vote.
make some decisions.
Mhm.
Right,
Right.
right, and, I mean, cause we could kick this around for a long time.
Forever.
Which is what we don't wanna have to do.
No, I think, and I can hear where you're coming from. So we really gotta take what their suggestions are. We kinda now have
Yeah.
what
A
other
framework
towns
to
do.
see. Mhm.
Yeah, and I think we need to get together and say yay or nay
Mhm.
on some things, but that's me,
That sounds
No, that's
perfectly
all
fine
right.
by me.
Sounds all right.
right?
Me too.
And hope that we nay and yay in all the right directions.
It will never be all the
Okay.
right directions.
Yeah, well, right, somebody will not like it, that's,
Well, I know, but I think we could get together and then we say, oh, but I think I think we need to be to the point where our next session is gonna be, we're gonna make decisions.
Sounds good.
How do I sound? I'm gonna be the one going,
So we have no meeting next Monday. It's the last Monday of the month. Do we want to just meet at our normal time downstairs for a work session?
Could we do it a little earlier? I'd like to try to do it,
Do you wanna do the afternoon thing
yeah,
again?
that's what I would like to do, I don't know how,
what works for you in the afternoon, what
oh,
works for you?
easy.
just-
I like afternoons personally.
Yeah, so we could probably do like a 2 or a 3. That's maybe like a 2:30-ish?
Yeah,
What day is this, on Monday?
Monday, the 26th, a week from now.
Monday, the 26th.
Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, I think so. And what time?
it's my husband's birthday.
What time?
But we'll be out of there,
Well,
what
that's,
time-
we can do it a different day.
well, can we do it a different day?
Yeah.
Yeah, just 'cause if I
Uh,
gotta get all the little rats around the table
The
to sing
surprise party
happy
and all
birthday,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
your birthday?
No, my husband's.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
God, you can't.
Well,
forget
and
him.
yeah, we already kinda talked about doing something Monday night, so
Let's see,
after that, I should be okay.
I mean,
How about
the
Tuesday?
other.
Tuesday, I'm busy.
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, let's see.
What date is that?
This.
28th.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, I'll be here already for an energy committee meeting in the evening on Wednesday,
Oh, before?
but that's fine.
What
It's
date is that?
The 28th,
28th.
so a week and 2 days.
Thank you.
At 2:30?
Yeah, we could do that at 2:30.
Okay,
Does that sound good to
Yeah,
everybody?
locking that in.
Yeah.
Oh, that works, thank you. Don't need to be a. All right, now put it in there.
The last time we did 3 to 5.
What was that? Last time what?
I think it was 3 to 5 last time, so I'm changing my times
To
after I
2:30,
copied the
so
event.
we'll be out of
I
here.
just, that gives us a little bit more
Yep.
in case we run into snags.
Snags, come on, we never do that.
Well, I think we got our information,
Yeah.
we have what we talked about, and then we just need to do it.
Just, if we're gonna run into snags, can we also run into snacks?
Yeah.
You let me know, I'll bring snacks.
All right. I
that
know. Well, you know what
okay.
kind of snack I want, but no.
It's supposed to be a joke.
Yeah, I want the same one.
In the liquid form would be nice, no. I'm just kidding.
All
Secret
right.
mini bar.
Yeah, right. Oh, gosh.
So I think that takes care of that, and next Wednesday will be a bunch of work there.
Okay, awesome. Can't believe
Last
it's
call for
May.
personnel policy stuff. Okay.
Last call.
That moves us on to new business, appointments to boards and committees. I think we already did that with the trustees. Are
Nope, we
there
got
others?
another one.
This will be
Okay.
the Rush Show.
This is me. So, at the ZBA hearing, we found out that Bobby Drown was not appointed.
Oh,
His
he's-
appointment ran out.
Oh,
So this is just the paperwork to reappoint him to the zoning board of adjustments.
So just a renewal term, basically?
Yep, just renewing him to 2025, I think.
You assign with your pen once you're done.
Oh,
with it.
that's right.
Better get mine.
And then I have
This
another
isn't
piece of
mine.
new
I don't know
business
where
when
I
we're
got
done.
this pen.
That's
Sorry?
not on
I
the
got
agenda.
a bunch of them.
Then I have another new
Crazy.
business that's not on the agenda.
There's something that
All right.
doesn't write very good. You write quick, so.
Oh,
Sort of last minute.
So I would move that we accept Robert Drown Jr. as a member of the zoning board of adjustment for renewal of his position.
I second, oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Russ, you can choose.
Pick a second, it's all good.
I wrote Marlo first.
Here we go, back it is.
All right, you said you had other new business?
So this new business is for the planning board. So they want to converse with the town attorney. However, most of our legal budget line for the planning board is spent. I think we only have about $200 left in it. And since it's gone over budget, I believe the new policy is to bring it up to the select board first. And this is in regard to an impact fee appeal.
So, do you want me to kind of pick up on that?
You can pick up on it?
Only because the way I read it
Yep.
is, and she actually, this lady brought it to our attention, due to the fact of the town property, the fact that if, whatever they do on it, let's say we, on Battle Street there, the big place.
The
It
big
would-
house you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, let's
Yeah.
say we tear it down and maybe it sits vacant for 4 or 5 years. They could, somebody could buy it, tear it down and sit vacant and then decide to build. Would they be charged an impact fee? Due to the fact that there was already a structure there. And correct me if I'm screwing anything up.
Well, I think we're going on, what is the timeline for when,
Timeline
it goes back to being considered a vacant lot.
Right, but where is that language where it says, new development, any new development, which then excludes, a fire, I even think,
Or the
or
replacement of a mobile home.
replacement,
Okay.
okay, so, and I thought it even was, to me, the way I read it, even like a tear down or anything, and in that rule, there is no timeline to say. So what my concern was, and this is why we wanna talk to legal, and Addie suggested it, was that we could have ourselves into quite a little bit of a bump in the road, because in the town of Webster, there's cellar holes everywhere.
Yeah.
There's been existing buildings,
I
know?
found two things that I don't think they are, but I could certainly claim were in my backyard in places.
that's right. And so what made us all take a step back and wanna talk to legal is whatever decision we make, that's gonna create a precedence moving forward. And I still personally read new development, vacant land that you're coming in and you're building on, when I read it. And there's no timeline or anything, so.
Sorry.
Nope.
But I don't wanna try to look at what the planning board is doing here
Right.
in the select board
Yeah.
meeting. But it sounds like it would be certainly advantageous to say, yeah, go ahead and overspend the legal budget, because it sounds like it's needed
Right.
to do the right thing.
Perfect.
So
So,
we
Sorry if I
must
got
have
folks on
money
there.
somewhere else to fill in that legal, if we go
For
over.
example, Dana says they've only really actual spent on their legal line $3,500.
I never said that, and I'll take it back.
The rest is being reimbursed.
We'll
so
find it, yeah.
We'll find it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
It
all
is,
right.
yeah.
This was an unanticipated legal expense.
the thing I would say about that is that we do have a fund for if legal is so far over that it needs to be taken from someplace else. So far, any time that we've had an overage, it's just been absorbed in the budget because we have done a good job with budgeting. But if it were to become a problem, we have the fund. I don't think we would need a motion to handle this, other than maybe it's in our policy that they are supposed to let us know.
Well, I think that, in the policy that, we just wanted to make sure that you knew that this was going to happen. And wouldn't be surprised when the bill came.
Yep. Any other comment on that? Sounds good. And thank you for your passion and looking into it further.
Well,
But
I
that's
didn't mean to
but
get
that's definitely
out there
planning
too
board
far.
material.
Yeah, I get where you're
So-
coming from.
All right. Do we have any other further new business? All right, hearing none, that will move us to correspondence.
Yes, the 535, which is the report that is filled out by the auditors that goes to DRA. I know that you have verified all these figures and have found them to be correct. And I need the board to sign so I can send it to the DRA.
Oh,
Jeez. Supposed to print, I guess.
Well, the good news about you is that you can read your name.
Yeah.
So I am my name
That's
because-
why they say you're supposed, my
Yes.
signature is why they
Yes,
say you're
yes,
supposed to
That's
finish.
right, so,
exactly.
While we're signing this, do we have anything else in regards to correspondence?
Yes, the other thing is I wanted to ask you about this legislative policy, meeting that the New Hampshire Municipal Association is having. And I think, Dave, you expressed some interest in maybe attending that. And that is the, where you can go and meet with the NHMA and give your opinion on what types of legislation they are supporting, or
And
not.
So,
Thank you.
this was, I saw this and then was also forwarded it by Dana. And of course, I am interested and like to try to keep up on what is going on for policy and the new things from our Senate and House at the state level. My concern with it was that, of course, NHMA has a set list of like a number of issues that they have and their positions that they want support or nays for. And my concern was that I did not want to go and be voting, quote, on the town's behalf or as a representative of Webster if we as a board had not gone through that list and decided, at least as a board, this is where we think Webster stands. And so I am more than happy to go. I would actually enjoy going, but to do that, I think we would need to have another work session before that goes to go through their list of things and to comment on it. And I don't necessarily want to burden us with that either. So I leave it up to the board as their decision on this matter, whether they want me to go and have a scheduled thing first or not. And what was the date on that again?
Well, unfortunately, it's next Friday, the 23rd, or this Friday.
Oh my God.
This Friday.
Yeah, this Friday.
It also just came across
Yeah,
on Friday.
it only
I think,
came
so-
back,
Or Saturday. It might have even been Saturday.
well, I think it might have come last week, but of course, we didn't have a meeting until tonight, so here we are.
Well, giving her a whole week notice, that's pretty good.
Well, I mean, I will say, NHMA, has an opinion.
Yes.
Oh, well,
on-
yeah, I'm
on a
sure.
lot of things, and some of them are good. I mean, I'm not saying none of them, they're not good, I'm just saying that you may not always agree with them.
Yeah, well, no, I understand that.
I personally, welcome you to go if you still want to. And I don't think we necessarily disagree on very many things. You have shown very big precedence to do what you feel is best for the town and to keep our budgets low. And so I have great faith that whatever way you vote, most likely would be the way I personally would feel. So that's my 2 cents on that.
So, thank you, and I think you're fairly accurate there as far as us trying to do the right thing for the town. One of the things that becomes interesting, though, is that, of course, they are looking at things from a statewide perspective, and so much more of your common politics come into play than we would see here. And so that's why I definitely don't want to do it unless, as the select board, we've said this is the way, or if it's a 2-to-1 or whatever, but at least that way there is some form of, no, this is actually the way that we feel as a town, rather than me going like, sure, I can speak on something like energy or the like, but then it's gonna be different. For example, like, I'll just say workforce housing, for example. That's a much larger thing for a lot of other places than here. And for better or worse, it's also become a political football.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to try and just, well, what I think is reasonable when that may or may not be what the town thinks. So I don't want to get into that situation for myself or for the town. They have a list of, in the email that they send out, which I think everybody gets the NHMA mails, but they have a list of, oh right, because I'm not online right now. They have a list of all of their proposed policy positions and legislative principles that they want to uphold in what they say and do in the Senate and House when they're doing their lobbying positions. And this is basically telling them how we want them to lobby for us. And so I would not feel comfortable unless at least there was a yay or nay on each of those positions coming from the two of you for me to account in there. And maybe I only say anything if we are all yay or all nay, and leave out the others for, well, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. But that's my thinking on it, because I don't want to misrepresent anybody, even if I think I'm representing in the best light.
So are they all online now, all the questions, and you have to read them and tell you?
Oh, yeah, they have
How many,
their
how many
list.
more things, how many things?
1 second, let me put this on, since I'm no longer projecting and we won't get random things showing up on the screen. It's a fairly lengthy read, the document.
Oh, of
So
course.
they support this, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
this. And then under right to know laws, they support this,
Oh,
and
wow,
this.
wow.
Under elections and how they run, they support this, and this.
Oh, my
And-
God.
And so this is a fairly lengthy document.
Oh, jeez.
Does it have page numbers? They're wide pages instead of tall pages, so it's formatted weird, but, oh, here we go. If I just open it this way, it'll tell me. So this particular one is 11 pages worth of, lots and lots of bullet points. And so that's why, like, it would be weird for me to just go
Yeah,
and
I
expect that
understand.
I would be representing people on everything I would say on all of these. So
So are you gonna go and just listen?
that would not be worth my time.
Yeah? That's-
Because they will summarize
what would you-
whatever they've decided, they'll summarize and send out as another document. So just going to listen is pointless. If we have positions that we want me to go there and vote on, I will happily do that and participate.
So you've read them all, I know, I would assume.
I have scanned through them all.
Okay.
I
So
didn't
is
read
there
them all
any-
because I didn't want to, like, it's pointless for me to take a position if we are not gonna be in a position for me to do anything about it.
So you want us, do you want us on the, well, no, because it's Friday, so you have to know right away.
Yeah, we would either need to have some sort of work session or say that, and I don't know how this works with regards to right to know, whether we would be able to just have Dana collect what you think on each topic in a list, and then I just take a tabulated result. We can do it that
As
way.
long as you don't all three communicate, but if they're just bouncing stuff between Dana and back to you, so he can send out the list, you send it back to Dana. and
Yeah,
Dana
if it was
sends
just a list of all three are opposed to this and all three are for this, and I would feel fine going and representing us on those particular matters for voting. That's entirely up to the board. I'm fine either way, but it's more work if you want me to go. It's more work for you if you want me
I
to
guess,
go.
I guess what I sit here and think about is, I think we're silly not to, I know you're very concerned on, and I have no problem, I don't think going through 11 pages and saying I agree or I disagree, a yay or a nay, I can do that, that's not the end of the world. That would be easier than doing a work session, just cause I can
Yeah,
do it
right.
at 6 o'clock in the morning or whenever I get up, I can look down through and just yay or nay. But I think it is important, and we appreciate you wanting to go to, you know, they always say, you hate to say, oh, well, that's a stupid law. Well, you didn't do anything about
Right.
it, you know, I hate that, that's why we all are sitting here, otherwise,
Right.
why would we be here? To be honest with you, right?
That's why we're trying to have a good policy.
It's right,
Yeah.
you can't be bitching about something if you can't do something about it, or at least put your opinion in, so I would much appreciate you going, and I can look down through and, how would I do this? Would you email it to me and I would just, say yes, no, yeah?
Yeah.
I can,
Yeah,
I mean, honey,
yeah, if you email it to me too.
then I can, and say, yeah, we can both give our opinion.
Yeah,
Okay, and you know, I wouldn't be emailing it till Wednesday.
Okay.
What time is that on Friday?
What time?
Yeah.
Hold on.
And that's at their office in Concord, I think, or is it
9 a.m.
Manchester?
And it's at Triangle Park Drive.
Okay, so right in Concord,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, if you get me the list, I can email it to you tomorrow. I'll do it before I go to the, Dana has a commute, I don't, so. I can send the list out.
Probably the easiest way to do it, just because then we're not taking up a ton of Dana's time for it, is to just print the page and then have a yes or a no next to each of their bullet points.
And then just scan it back.
And either scan it back or drop it off back to Dana.
Yeah, that's doable.
Because that's easy to scan quickly
Or I
in
could
the
print
office.
it tonight, I mean, I could,
Yeah, he can print them for us and just hand them to
Yeah,
us
well,
tonight when we
so I
leave.
just-
yeah,
It would be better if it's in my hands.
yeah.
Than me trying to find
All
it.
right, so,
Well, I know it's, the time is very tight there.
okay. So why don't we do it that way, and if,
I like that way.
can we have them all back to him by sometime Wednesday?
Yeah.
Well, that's the best way to do it, cause if you
Yeah.
give me too much time, that's not good either.
Well, then you'll just have to show up and we'll start debating while we're there.
That's right. Well, I really appreciate you going. I feel like you really take this to even a level that I think that we should have an opinion in there, so I appreciate it. That's all. And I appreciate you weren't, thinking you wanna be
Yeah,
on
and-
the same page as us, so.
And NHMA always develops these opinions, they do it every year.
Yeah.
They always ask if there's people that want to be on their committee that is developing the opinions even before they present them in this manner. And so that's always available to people, to join in on that process as well. But of course, not everybody has an infinite amount of time,
No,
so.
that's a fact.
I try to chip in and do it where I think it will be most impactful and most effective.
Yep.
But, perfect, so we'll
Sounds
get
good to
copies of
me.
that when we leave to say yay or nay, and then that can all get tabulated together. All right. Do we have further?
I have one other item. I pay the telephone bill online with a credit card because we can't seem to turn it around quick enough. And we're finding we're in the same situation with Unitil. Would you like me to pay that online in the same way that I do the telephone?
Why can't you put the bank information in? Because it's town?
As far as
Like,
automatically
yeah.
charging,
Yeah.
it's
Go to the
because
bank
the
account.
treasurer has to be the one to authorize the money to come out of the account.
We have to have authorized and signed off before the treasurer can say yes and so on, unless it's credit cards. My concern with that would be that I don't think the credit card would have a high enough limit if we're talking about everybody's electric bills here, plus all of the other, service bills and stuff that have to end up on it too. For example, our backups and some of our IT stuff and the phones and. So we may have to adjust the credit card policy if that is the case, and or the limits that are currently set on the cards. I would personally be in favor of it, so we don't have late charges.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
But of course, we need to do that the right way and make sure it'll work before we just start it.
And part of it, I mean, we've had trouble crediting the right accounts. You send them a check, you send them all the slips. 2 months ago, they sent it back and said, we don't know how to.
Oh, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're not charging a late fee for that, are they?
Oh, sure,
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
I mean, it's very small amounts, but I mean, and.
I would say, hey, you need to wipe that off, dude.
This sort of problem happens with Unitil with our accounts all the time.
Really?
Well, they
At
shouldn't be
least
able to
multiple
charge
times
you.
every year.
Yeah.
That's a
What
pain
do
in the
they
butt
use
too.
it for?
Yeah, it is, and it's very time consuming to call them and
And
try
argue with them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
get it straightened out.
So what do you think you need for a limit on the credit card if you do it that way? Do you know? Is that what you're concerned with?
Yeah.
Well, I think I could do it. My card, I think, has a $4,000 limit. And the telephone bills are like 700. The software, is like maybe $150. And then this looks like runs about $1,100.
Okay, so we're somewhere in the,
So-
let's call it 2,500 to be safe.
I would say, yeah.
Well, the high end is free.
Sure. Yeah, because, it's gonna change over time.
So I don't have any problem with that.
I mean, that sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as we're not gonna have a problem with it, and then just do it. If
I think it will solve a lot of problems in that fact that it will happen with the computer and won't depend on a human
Yeah.
person
um,
at P.O. Box 194191621, Boston, Mass.
Will this affect our manner of being able to keep record of payments and such at all, since we keep putting more and more on the credit cards and we kind of pay
Well,
the
of course,
credit
as
card
you know,
bill?
when the credit cards are approved, all the backup is with it, and that's what goes to finance.
Right.
And she breaks it down and charges the proper accounts for the backup of that. And so we don't lose any information.
Okay, perfect. Just making sure.
Yeah, no, that's,
And you don't have it for lunch or something.
no, no,
All right.
All right.
I would do it for dinner.
Yeah.
I do see in our packet that there were some other correspondence that were sent out.
Is that the ZBA stuff?
Look, yep, there's
Because I'm pretty sure I
ZBA.
covered it with all the board members.
Yep, ZBA requirement, or I should say ZBA results.
Yeah.
And then the other one in the packet that I see for correspondence was DES. And to clarify for my own understanding, this is to a landowner from New Hampshire DES. They are sending a copy to us as the select board and the Conservation Commission so that we know that this is happening and is being requested by DES, but there is nothing for us to do or that we can do about it.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
That's just for your information.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Clothespin Bridge, I missed a couple meetings, I know I was sick. Is there anything going on with Clothespin Bridge?
Well, of course there is.
Yeah,
Dee.
it's just be part
There's
of
always something going on.
falling
with
apart,
Clothespin
but,
Bridge.
yeah,
I did hear from the engineer.
yeah.
Who is starting the process, and I don't know where they are with it, starting the process of acquiring the rights of way that we need and or the land that we need. One of the things was they have to hire an appraiser to do a value.
Okay, well, I haven't been
that.
contacted at all, I don't know if they're gonna use my land or any of it or what, but.
I don't think so, but I better not say that for sure. The other thing, he did have some very, unhappy news saying that probably the bid for the bridge replacement wouldn't go out till next June by the time this gets done.
Oh my God.
And the bridge would be yet another year because of the steel situation.
But didn't we get, my brain, didn't we get an okay for the money for that bridge?
The money is not a problem at all.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
except if it goes out
Yeah.
enough, we'll need
Yeah.
a lot more
In fact, we're saving a
buckets.
lot of money because it's not happening,
Yeah.
but.
Well, that's,
you know.
do we have the money now? Is it in account for us?
The money, we have, obviously, we have our trust fund,
I mean,
capital reserve
the
fund.
mon- yeah,
But the
right.
money that the government is, the state is going to pay for the construction of the bridge with federal money, the state has that.
Okay, so we're not
Yeah.
making any extra interest on money
I'm
that.
sorry, we're not.
Okay,
No.
thank you. All right, well, I just was wondering what's going on here. so.
The second part of that is, of course, since it is unexpected that we'll have construction until then, the surface and top of the bridge needs to be looked at. And so Emmett, our road agent, is working on that. I saw some lines cut over there, I'm not quite sure what that's about.
There's been-
I'm guessing that is because they were looking at different plates and or tarring over the top of it the next time they had tar, so that it would be manageable in the winter with plowing.
All right, well, I noticed there's a lot of red lines down the road too, not down there, but down farther down the road. I don't know what that means, I'm sure Emmett knows what it means, but.
Yeah,
And
so-
I did
so
notice he
something is
cut
being
those
done,
trees
but-
down by
yes.
that house, and that was good, he did a good job there, so.
Yeah, so they've been working on all of that, and I expect we'll hear about it at our next meeting when he
Okay.
tells us for department head meetings, but,
Okay, all right, well, I just was wondering,
yeah.
thank you.
All right. Do we have any other correspondence?
You know, I might just mention that I did hear from Tara, who had mentioned the zip code
Yes.
question to her boss, and her boss said that he would look into her, for her, and to see who we could contact.
To- Is that to get our own zip code?
That's to get our own zip code.
Oh my God, you know, I don't wanna tell you, we tried that in probably 75, and they just said, there's no zip code you can have. Like, really?
I'm trying to get beyond, you know, my skepticism.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
trying to say, okay, maybe
This
maybe
is the
will
process,
happen.
and maybe it'll work, maybe it
And,
won't.
but I also know the post office is closing down post office, and, you know, and I don't know whether you need your own post office, but,
Yeah, well, we never had our own post
No.
office, ever. But Salisbury has one, Bosquen had
you
one.
know, but she did call me and she said that, you know, or this is what Tara tells me, that her supervisor said, oh, that's a good idea, and was going to look into it. And the thing I got from Senator Shaheen's office, I mean, there's some, things that you have to do, and you have to prove need is that's the biggest thing, you have to prove that, and that's difficult.
Yeah,
Because we don't have a lot of businesses.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't have a lot of population. We're not bursting at the seams that we're growing. I mean, so there's.
But it is odd that Salisbury, who's smaller than us, has their own post office.
The thing that I could see, and I'm sure many people would argue, is that for the need, there are two kind of major reasons that are typically brought up. One is confusion, because there's a number of the same roads in the zip code in
Yeah,
Concord,
yeah,
Bosquen,
right.
et cetera. And the second one is, of course, that the demographics and therefore the federal funding and or grant availability is very different for a city like Concord versus a rural farming section like we are. And so it kind of gets all mixed up in the middle, so nobody gets as much as they should.
Yeah.
So as far as need, those are the two that I could see that most people will push forward. Whether those are considered legitimate need or not, I have no idea, but those would be the easiest ones to
Well, I know there
use.
used to be a guy named Bill Davis who lived on 127, right up on the hill, 127, and he tried that in like 1970 something maybe, and that was, no, must have, yeah, 80, maybe 80. Boy, he got knocked down pretty good, and he was a draftsman, and he did a lot of, you know, fancy work and all that, and
Did he get knocked down by the post office?
yeah.
Well,
We don't need it.
I think there's also a certain degree, in this day and age, like, it's not like adding an extra person's hand sorting of things.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, everything is just, well, we'll just check another box or whatever. So there's a lot to be said about making it easier to do that these days.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
though
it
it
would
might
be,
be a little weird to, in this day and age, have another one being added. But, you know, we can only look at it and see what happens.
That's see if it happens.
Is there any other correspondence?
That's all I had.
All right. We still have no public, so I guess they trust us and have no comment. So that moves us on to motions and approvals and payments and documents and signing. which we've done some signing already, but.
Oh, hair court, right?
Oh, is it the minutes?
Oh, I,
Well, that too.
Yeah, minutes.
Everybody loves minutes.
Okay, let's see.
they look good to me.
Want a motion to accept those minutes?
I think there was a, no, we had one where it was the non-public that we had and not the public ones, I think, from a few weeks back or something like that. Or was it the other way
No, I meant a
around?
non-public one that you don't have, but you have all the public ones.
Okay,
Oh, I think you approved that non-public one.
I think there was one where it was like a non-public but not, oh, I think it was the one where,
It was the one
He was
that was
absent.
happened up at the meeting house.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
you approved that.
So we
last
have
time.
gotten
Yeah.
through all of them,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. Did someone say they were making a motion?
About accepting the minutes?
Yes.
Yes, I would make the motion that we accept the minutes for September 6th, although I wasn't there, so maybe I shouldn't make that motion.
I was gonna say, did you find anything that didn't look like it was accurate?
No. All right, so,
She watched the thing.
I'm just trying to get everything done so we can leave.
At least she's honest.
Hey, you know,
I second that.
all right,
All right, take
so,
it back, you'll have to make it, I'm gonna be quiet.
let's see. Yeah, so we went on, yeah, so that was all good. I did not see anything in particular, did you?
Nope.
All right, so I'd move that we accept the select board meeting minutes from Tuesday, September 6th as written.
I second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstained because I wasn't there.
All right, so that covers minutes.
Payments?
Which, do we have anything else that we need to sign, Dana?
Yes, you're coming up signing of documents. If
And
you're
or
going out
motions.
of order.
Oh,
Dave,
just
will
because
you
I
sign
thought
it?
you would have handed the motions already out to us.
Well, I changed one of the motions though, so I need to tell you about that. I
Okay.
received another, bill from, Emmett today, and so I've added it in, adding 2110 to his amount needed. As soon as I'm through. So everything's the same as what you have, except for the police and flower farm.
Did you write that on there?
Yes, I think it's all written,
Okay, and that one
and
is,
this was the additional bill that I got. And I thought, since you were meeting tonight, might as well pay it.
so is that already accounted for in number 2 here?
In the one I just gave you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, this is already accounted in?
Yes, it
This
is.
one?
In there. I even
It's in
asked
there.
that, Dave,
Yes.
before I handed it to you.
Yeah, and that is the last one.
Yeah, okay. So you wanna put that in that pile, Bill?
8, 9, 10,
That way you
that's
can have
about
that.
right.
We
Oh,
don't
that'll,
need it.
that'll go with the
We'll go
supporting
back,
yeah.
documents.
Those are what we've already seen, that
All
we
right.
just haven't seen, but everything else is in here. and it's-
Exactly.
Okay.
I'd move to request the trustees of trust funds issue a check in the amount of $3,816.70 payable to Bosco and Sand and Gravel for invoice P210044672 in the amount of $4,186.40 minus the overpayment for invoice P210044086 in the amount of $368.70 that was paid twice. That
See?
total for the aggregate is to be withdrawn from the Road Preservation Expendable Trust Fund for $3,816.70.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would move to request the trustee of trust funds issue a check payable to Fleece and Flower Farm LLC for the total amount of $10,855. This payment for invoices 6898, 6899, 6900, and 6901. These invoices are for work on Cornhill Road, Clothespin Bridge Road, and White Plains Road. These to be withdrawn from the Road Preservation Expendable Trust Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to request the trustees of trust funds issue a check payable to GMI Asphalt in the amount of $1,860.24 for invoice P11082 And P1101 is for binder and top asphalt to be withdrawn from the Road Preservation Expendable Trust Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd move to request the trustees of trust funds issue a check payable to VHB in the amount of $6,697.33 for invoice 0380980 for engineering services for Clothespin Bridge. This to be withdrawn from the Bridge Improvement Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Are there any other motions?
Yes.
I was
As soon as I
afraid of that.
find it, I'll give it to you.
I'm like, I guarantee there's one more motion.
Uh-oh.
What did I do with it? I had,
But if we
I
do
wanted
that
to
motion,
talk to
then
you
there's
about
nothing else.
withdrawing
That's,
the money for, what did I do with that? Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah, okay, that one. I need complete bed rest.
I know, I'm with you, dude.
don't worry,
Been a
tomorrow
long
you're gonna get
couple
plenty of
weeks.
rest listening to
Okay,
budget
so,
presentations.
so this is for using the ARPA funds towards New England Document Systems, which is for our digital records. My question for either or both of you is, when dealing with this, what have we heard back on purchase and use of this versus our server at this point?
I think we're at the point that, last I knew today, Computech was still waiting for an answer from the Papervision, people to see if our server would work with this. And I think I would not suggest paying this bill immediately, but the bill came and I wanted to just put it before you. And I think when the bill came, I hadn't heard about the server thing yet. And frankly, I mean, no one mentioned the server when we were looking at it,
Yeah. So, my comment would be that, we have, as a board, have decided that we were gonna move forward with this, and with this solution as proposed to us by the Document Retention Committee. And I don't think that is likely to change. Obviously, they have sent us a bill and are expecting that there is payment. However, they should be fully aware that our IT company is trying to contact them and get more information on installation and use of that at this point. So I don't think we want to, for example, start our annual software maintenance and such when we don't have software installed as of yet. So that would be my comment on it. Now, it's entirely possible that it would be a purchase and then start the year on the date of install or their availability, though that doesn't appear to be reflected in this invoice that's sitting here. It's also possible that we can't install it until we have the server upgrade, which I believe was scheduled and expected for next year anyway. So there may have to be a slight delay in that versus installation and software hardware requirements. So I think that it is most appropriate for us to acknowledge that we do intend to move forward and that we do intend to pay, but that we need to make sure that everything is working and that the terms are correct, and we can actually install it now before we do that, or that the payment and then the term of use will start upon install. So I would like to hear an affirmative from the board on that, so that it's easy to, for example, let Russ tell them, yes, the board said this. But at the same time, I don't think it would be appropriate to authorize payment for it, since we can't have it. Well, we
Right.
can't have it yet, because we don't know that it can be installed.
Right.
I agree
So-
with you, you're the
Well,
computer man
And it makes
too.
most sense, what you
Yeah.
said, so.
So
Fine.
I really hope that, I already hoped that we would know that before this meeting, but, those
Here we are.
communications have not happened. So, hopefully at the next meeting, we can make a approval in that manner.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Now, I have a little treat for you. We have a few deeds. Russ, I sent Russ down to get his notary stuff. These are for the lots that you sold at the meeting house. And I had the paperwork came back, so it requires all of you to sign it.
Good. We can do that, we're here.
That's why I thought it would be
Alright,
great.
got my magnifying glass, I'm gonna
Alright.
watch all of
You
you sign.
Get that out there, Russell.
And just to make sure, just because I know people will ask, and it's appropriate, these are all release deeds, or whatever the policy says, correct?
They are.
Perfect, thank you.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
The thing you didn't pre-type
No,
the day.
I thought it was, I used to write these myself, but it's well worth the money we spent for the attorney to do it.
Right, because they don't even, yeah, I agree.
So which one?
The one that says date and.
Would you like the front of it, Dave?
Oh, okay, so at the bottom it does have a deed release too.
This is the first page.
Oh, we have a first
He reads,
page.
he reads everything he signs.
I try.
I tried to push it through, you know.
Alright,
It was a deed to his house.
Right, yeah.
So,
that would be fine.
so where is the, well, how much did we get?
Um,
We don't,
That is actually.
on Nadu,
yeah.
Hey, witness,
oh, you need a witness?
you're the one who put the witness line.
No, I'm not.
Well, we need a witness and I can't witness my own signature.
You can
Yes.
witness we found this out, you can witness the event, but not your signature of being a witness.
That's nice.
So yes, we like to do it the right
That's
way.
why I'm.
Yes, it is September 19th.
Oh, Mike Rapino, I know him.
Yeah, it's the two people that are purchasing,
No,
and then the
no,
lots.
so which lots were these? I just was,
So
Yeah, I
here
know, but we're-
and here.
so which, okay.
They're all in Pillsbury.
Oh, okay.
Lake.
Okay.
They're Pillsbury Lake and they're butters.
Yeah.
Oh, they were butters, okay. No wonder I know Mike.
Have we gotten anything back on the non-abutting land? Or I should say, on the land that the abutter did not go for?
I haven't done anything further on that, no.
Okay,
Why is this one different?
different deed.
So were there
No, it's
more than
arranged
one bid, or they
No.
just asked, we just asked the
We,
abutter?
actually, we, those were the ones that went to the abutters, and there was only one, oh no, one of them did have two bids on it, I think.
Yes,
But
it
one of the
did,
bids
right.
was not as much as the minimum we were asking.
Oh,
for,
okay.
And it was,
So the others were just the minimums you were
and
asking?
the others were a little more than the minimums.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good. So that just paid all our expenses for
it
advertising
did,
and
it
everything?
did,
Okay.
and
And the
it took-
taxes that
And took
were-
care of what you were owed for taxes,
Okay.
plus the taxes you lost.
Okay, good.
That one did have that part, I just ignored it on the phone. I'll get right there.
Oh, all right.
The day and the. Wanna make sure we dot all our i's and cross all our t's.
Yes, because
Yes.
I gotta
And
send this to
squiggle all around.
Mass
Certainly, we
Registry.
certainly want to do it correctly.
Only
This
can
is
read my
Nadu.
name though.
That's
Yes,
fine.
it is.
Nobody needs to
Virginia,
read, it's
okay.
2022.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Do we have any others?
We-
God, you keep digging in that folder.
I know. Oh, you know, some nights I come in, I'm so confused. I mean, it's really terrible.
Take it away from it.
That's the accounts payable, and you'll notice,
Oh, such a. Oh, yeah, paying for the,
I should have asked if you wanted me to print all this, but.
paying for
What's
the.
that?
What are those two dots?
Oh.
Marlo, Mitchie Herrick.
Oh, was that?
Yeah,
Well,
but
that's
there should
all I
probably be
was-
3 dots,
That's a-
because there's 3 eyes, but.
That's right,
Well, it's a-
that's really
But
fun.
Yeah,
that
we
one,
can do
you know.
that,
I know we have the technology.
yeah. And then I gotta give trustees, because Mary's coming in tomorrow.
Then when you were in school, did you always write your name nice and?
Well, you want me to write my mother's name? I'm very good at that. Um,
What was the Charlevoix Inc.? There were several invoices.
Those were the,
that was very
the
nice.
annual
That was my
inspections of
mother's
the fire.
And I can tell you
Oh,
last
yes,
night,
thank you.
right?
Good thing you know everything, Dana.
I know what I know
And you can read
everything.
my
How was your
husband's
mother?
name
She was sick.
too. She's home, so
Oh,
she's
good.
doing better.
What was wrong with her?
Oh, she had surgery on both
Oh,
her legs,
surgery,
yeah,
jeez.
but then they got infected and, yeah,
That is.
All right.
so it's been
Are,
fun.
are the folders empty now?
Jesus,
Really?
You're all giving me a hard time.
It's the
I thought we were
unlimited
almost
folder.
done, and then you're like, all of a sudden, like,
All I've
oh.
done tonight is thumb through papers. I
Is
mean,
there,
it's
is there anything else for us to sign?
No,
All right.
I don't wanna talk about it.
Do we need any other business done?
I have no further thing. Do you have anything, Russ?
No.
All right. I would move that we close the meeting at 8:31.
Second.
Okay, nice.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's only 8:31.
I'll go down and print that.
I'm gonna go stop the recording.
Can you give me a ride home, Dave, please?
I can do that.
Oh, God. My car, now, the tire was smoking. So, don't even, you know, it's like, I think I'm giving up.